When my girlfriend's startup went bust, I was bound to her by the devotion system. The more I loved her, the luckier she got. It wasn't until she announced she was marrying someone else that my love began to fade, and all her good fortune started flowing back to me. The night Bella's company declared bankruptcy, she stood trembling on the edge of a rooftop, crying to me, "Alex, I have nothing left." Then, she let herself fall backward. The hem of her dress brushed against my fingertips as a voice echoed in my mind. "Bind yourself to me, and I will save her." Without a second to think, I screamed into the darkness, "Save her!" A flash of light erupted from my palm, revealing a glowing string of numbers, 999. Seconds later, a dull thud came from the darkness below, followed by Bella crying out in pain. My heart, which had stopped, began to beat again. I sobbed with the overwhelming joy of getting a second chance with the woman I loved. Thank God for the construction awning on the balcony below. Bella escaped with only a mild concussion and was home from the hospital in 2 days. I rubbed the numbers on my palm. They had changed from 999 to 899. The voice returned. The devotion system between Alex Foster and Isabella Martinez has been successfully bound. The more Alex loves Isabella, the luckier she will become. The devotion system. The more I love her, the luckier she gets. Well, that sounded perfect for me. Anyone who knew me knew that Alex Foster was head over heels, dying for her, kind of in love with Bella Martinez. After coming home from the hospital, Bella spent her days sitting on the bed, staring blankly out the window. Terrified she might try something again, I put in my notice at work, planning to stay home until she was back on her feet. My director, Chloe Davis, pleaded with me to stay. I was on track for a promotion to lead project manager by the end of the year, and quitting now meant throwing my entire career away. I glanced at the glowing numbers only I could see and stood firm. The whole reason I work so hard is to make the person I love happy. I told her, if she's gone, what's the point of a career? I took Bella back to my small hometown in Ohio and sold the house my parents had left me to pay off her debts. "See, you don't have nothing," I told her, holding her close. "You have me. I'll always be here for you." She buried her face in my shoulder, sobbing. "But that was your inheritance from your parents. How could you?" "For me." She cried like the 3-year-old from next door. Before we left town for good, I held her hand as we walked through the streets where I grew up, a final farewell to a place that no longer held anything for me. "Alex, I want that one," Bella said, her mood finally lifting. She was pointing at a vintage pocket watch at a dusty antique stall in the local flea market. Seeing her smile, I bought it without a second thought, even though I knew most of the stuff sold here was junk. She seemed to adore it, fiddling with the watch the entire train ride back to Seattle. "Young lady, would you be willing to sell me that watch?" An older gentleman in the adjacent seat suddenly asked. I was about to refuse, but Bella shot back. "What are you offering? I'll pay double what you paid for it." "Double? Could it be real?" "This is a family heirloom," Bella said smoothly. "It doesn't have a price." I smiled to myself. The old Bella was back, already spinning tales and working her angles. It was just one of the things I loved about her. "I'll give you $15,000 for it." I nearly choked on my water. I had paid $80 for it. "No, thank you," she said politely. I coughed, trying to catch my breath, and nudged her arm, suggesting she reconsider. She ignored me. After we got off the train, she dragged me to an appraiser. The old man examined the watch under a magnifying glass for what felt like an eternity. "It's worth at least $30,000, he finally declared. $30,000. I stared at Bella, who just gave me a playful, triumphant smirk. Through the appraiser's connections, an elderly woman bought the watch from us for $35,000, $680 turned into over $35,000. Riding the high, Bella dragged me to a 7-Eleven to buy some scratch-off lottery tickets. I scratched too. Nothing. Bella took one from me and won $100. She grabbed another. $50,000. The clerk's jaw was on the floor, but I knew exactly what was happening. The more I love her, the luckier she gets, I whispered to myself. But what did the dwindling number on my palm mean? The system never explained. I could only assume the worst, that it was the price I was paying with my own life. Bella recovered faster than I could have ever imagined. She started going out again, though she was always vague about where she was going or what she was doing. She promised she wouldn't do anything to make me worry, so I didn't press her. I stayed home, ironing her clothes and cooking her meals, waiting for her to return. Every few days, I'd visit her parents to make sure they were okay. She left the apartment looking immaculate and returned looking even better, bubbling with good news. Someone had given her a new supply chain. Old clients were inviting her to tour their factories. A landlord offered her a prime commercial space at half the market rate. Another investor had poured millions into her new venture. She would wrap her arms around my neck and kiss me passionately, tears in her eyes. "Alex, I'm gonna make it all back." I returned her kisses, tasting the salt of her tears, stroking the back of her head. "I know, and I'll always be here to support you." The number 444 glowed faintly on my palm. It was all worth it, I thought. With Bella's life back on track, I started planning my return to the workforce. "Looking for a job?" she asked, not looking up from her phone, her thumbs flying across the screen. "How much can you possibly make? Why don't you just stay home and take care of me? The new company is stable now. I can more than afford to support you." A knot of something sour and tight formed in my chest. Bella came from real money. Even though her family had hit hard times before her first startup, her earnings had always dwarfed mine. She had often joked that I should quit my job to be her stay-at-home boyfriend, cooking, cleaning, and driving her around. But as a guy from a blue-collar family who had busted his ass to get a degree from Stanford, I was raised with the idea that a man provides, builds a career, and makes something of himself. Her suggestions always left me feeling inadequate and ashamed. "A man needs to have a career," I said weakly. "Whatever you want, but you still have to make my lunch every day." I've gotten used to it. Reality, however, hit me like a ton of bricks. With my degree and years of project management experience, I thought I could at least land a mid-level management position at a major tech firm. I couldn't even get an interview. Time and again, I'll lower my expectations. Finally, a small company offered me a position in customer service. Swallowing my pride, I reached out to old colleagues and managers. I spent hundreds of dollars on dinners, only to be lectured and belittled for an hour before it ended in a shouting match. Why had my life fallen so far? "You can't even find a job. When did you become so useless?" Bella snapped at me from the driver's seat. "And you made me come all the way out here to get you. Don't you know how busy I am?" My car had broken down in the suburbs, and after an hour of failing to get an Uber, I had no choice but to call her. I called at 6 p.m. It was now midnight. "What took you so long?" I asked, trying to keep my tone even. "I was networking. You think everyone has as much free time as you do." She berated me the entire way until her phone rang, and her tone changed instantly. "Mr. Thompson, hello. What can I do for you at this hour?" "What? Mr. Sterling's in town." Okay, you can count on me. I'm on my way. Thank you so much for the introduction." She slammed on the brakes, screeching to a halt on the shoulder. "You can get home from here," she said, pushing my door open. "I have to meet a very important client. I probably won't be home tonight." When I didn't move, she leaned over and gave me a quick, dismissive peck on the forehead. "My sweet Alex will understand, won't he?" she cooed, her voice now syrupy sweet. "Yeah, be safe. Text me," I said, kissing her lips before getting out. I always knew where I stood. Her career, her family, her friends. They all came before me. That's the price you pay for punching above your weight, just like my mom always warned me. At 3 a.m, Bella did come home, escorted by a young man. Ms. Martinez had a bit too much to drink, and I was heading this way. "So I brought her home," he said. He was tall and handsome, his features sharp and well-defined. He wore a tailored suit, but it couldn't hide the youthfulness in his face. I recognized him from Bella's Instagram stories, her new intern. "Thanks." As I took Bella from him, I saw a smudge of red on his collar, unmistakably the shape of a lipstick print. A hot, sick feeling washed over me. I slammed the door shut. I needed to feel something, to reclaim some sense of security from her. "Use a condom. I could get pregnant." Bella snapped, pushing my face away with her foot. I grabbed her ankle, my gaze burning. "Then let's get pregnant. We've been together for 8 years. It's time to get married, to start a family. 3 years in college, 5 years living together. 8 years of my life, and she kept pushing marriage off with the excuse of wanting to achieve her dream. "Alex," the slap stung my cheek. "You promised you would never force me. You were faking it," I said, my voice cold. "You weren't even drunk." "If I didn't pretend to be drunk, how else could I have left early to come home to you?" she cried, tears streaming down her face. My own heart ached to see her so upset. I gently licked the tears from her cheeks and held her close, whispering, "I'm sorry," over and over. "Bella, let's get married." The woman in my arms fell into a deep sleep, leaving my question unanswered. The city's most prominent billionaire suddenly invested $50 million into Bella's company. She was ecstatic, literally jumping for joy around our apartment. "Alex, my dream is getting closer." "So if your dream is coming true, does that mean mine is too?" I asked, pulling her into a hug. "Of course, when it happens, I'll call a press conference, get down on one knee with a huge diamond ring, and tell the whole world that you're my man. Shouldn't I be the one proposing with a giant ring? Then you better start working and save up for one," she teased. I froze. She was right. What capital did I have to propose to her? Did she even need me anymore? It seemed like she was doing just fine, better even without me. A deep, gnawing insecurity took hold. "I want to open a branch office in Portland," she said. "Why don't you go run it for me? It's a perfect solution since you're having trouble finding work." It was a good offer, but the image of the lipstick on her assistant's collar flashed in my mind. My gut told me there was more to this story. "That's so far away. I wouldn't be able to take care of you," I said, testing the waters. "How about I work at the main office here with you?" "Fine," she said, "but no one can know you're my boyfriend. It would be bad for my image and for the company. Can you handle that? As long as I can be near you and help you, I can do anything." Bella moved quickly. I was brought into her company as a product manager. The work itself wasn't difficult, but the social dynamics were brutal. My subordinates were insubordinate. My peers sabotaged my work and threw me under the bus, and my direct supervisor made a public spectacle of criticizing my every move. Sometimes Bella would witness these exchanges and walk past without a word. Later, at home, she would complain, "How can you not even handle something so simple? Are you sure you're here to help me and not to ruin my company? Can't you just keep your head down? I have enough stress already. If you can't do this, then just go back to being a housekeeper." Her constant criticism chipped away at my confidence, making me wonder if I really had become useless. On top of the work stress, I was constantly watching Bella and her assistant, Julian Vance. They would disappear into her office for hours, leave for meetings in the morning and not return until after closing, or whisper and laugh together during management meetings. I tried talking to her about it, but she always dismissed my concerns as just business. It only amplified my anxiety. Combined with the ever-decreasing number on my palm, I felt like I was losing my mind. "Marriage. We have to get married now. Once she's my wife, she'll be mine." I couldn't wait any longer. I sold my car to buy the perfect ring. I was going to propose to her in front of the entire company. Before I could finalize my plans, my supervisor called an emergency meeting to publicly condemn me. He claimed a mistake of mine had cost the company nearly $500,000. Bella, Julian, the entire management team, and my own subordinates, dozens of pairs of eyes stared at me with cold indifference. I felt like I was drowning in ice water, the panic and lack of air suffocating me. Tom stood still. A familiar figure appeared on the shore, reaching out a hand. "Pull up all the records," Bella said from her seat at the head of the table, her face an emotionless mask. Moments later, my computer desktop was mirrored on the large screen, and stacks of documents were laid out on the conference table. Every piece of data, every email, every report pointed to one conclusion. Alex was at fault. So cold, I couldn't breathe. The hand that had been reaching for me was now pressing down, shoving my head under the water. After the silent struggle came a frantic thrashing, then silence once more. I woke up in a hospital. A nurse was changing my foredrip. "Excuse me," I said, my voice hoarse as I rubbed my throbbing temples. "The person who brought me here." "Oh, the older gentleman? He just left." "An older gentleman? Wasn't it Bella?" "Yeah, said he was a colleague of yours. By the way, your test results will be ready in a little while, so you'll have to wait." After she left, the silence in the room was deafening. Outside, the sky was already dark. I texted Bella. No reply. I called. Straight to voicemail. My right hand floated into my vision. The number 122 burned with a blinding light. It couldn't be. A set of hurried footsteps approached. A doctor and two nurses entered my room and handed me a clipboard. Terminal lung cancer. Even though I had suspected the worst, The confirmation was a crushing blow. Mr. Foster, when can we discuss your treatment options? By the time I came to my senses, the doctor was gone. I had no memory of what he'd said. My finger hovered over Bella's contact, hesitating. Should I tell her? I was supposed to propose today. Instead, death came knocking first. The sharp click-clack of high heels echoed down the hall. Bella walked in, followed by Julian. I opened my mouth to speak, but no sound came out. You have great timing. Waking up right after I finished cleaning up the mess you made, she said, her voice dripping with the same condescending superiority she always had, like a queen looking down from her throne. I'm sorry. I managed, pushing myself up. Under the blankets, one hand clutched the test results, the other the ring box. Julian proposed to me yesterday, she cut in. We're planning to get engaged at the end of the year. Bella, that's not a funny joke, I said, but my lips wouldn't form a smile. My entire body started to shake. I'm not joking. She held up her right hand. A massive, brilliant diamond sparkled on her ring finger. You said you'd wait for me to buy you one. And wait until when? Doomsday? Honestly, Alex, you have absolutely no self-awareness. Did you really think, for even a second, that you were my league? The words hit their mark. I had nothing to say. At least your mother was more realistic. She tried to warn you, but you insisted on being my little simp. If you weren't decent-looking and easy to manage, I wouldn't have wasted 8 years on you. Consider that my charity. Darling, it's not very polite to say these things in front of me. Julian purred, kissing Bella's ear right in front of my face. Be good, she murmured back. You can punish me tonight. I gave up my career. I sold my family home to help you through your darkest time. And this is how you see my devotion. I grabbed a pillow and hurled it at them, my voice a raw, hysterical roar. Please, she scoffed. The money from that dump you called a house doesn't even cover a third of what I've spent on you over the years. But I won't ask for it back. Let's just call it even and go our separate ways. Furious, I ripped the 4 from my arm and tried to lift the metal stand to swing at them. But Bella's sharp voice stopped me. Enough. Alex, face reality. Look at yourself. You're not young. You're not healthy. You have no money, and you have no career. What right do you have to talk about marrying me, supporting me, making me happy? Can you really give me any of that? What? But all of this. Isn't it because I love you that I lost it all? But she was right. That was my reality now. I thought I would be angry enough to attack them, or so heartbroken I couldn't stop crying. Instead, a strange calm washed over me. Did you ever love me? I asked softly. Ugh. Did you not hear a word I just said? I don't know if you're an idiot or if I was just too nice to you and gave you the wrong impression. No, I never loved you. The only person I've ever loved is myself. The room fell silent again. She was right. She had never loved me. It was all a lie, I told myself. Someone who loves you doesn't refuse to introduce you to their friends and family. They don't ignore you when you're burning up with a 102-degree fever because it's distracting. They don't constantly belittle and undermine you. They don't turn down your proposal again and again, and they certainly don't bring another man to your deathbed to announce their engagement. She had been telling me she didn't love me for years in 100 different ways. I was just the one who refused to listen. Hearing her say it out loud, it was a relief. Blood from a 4-wound dripped onto my palm. Beneath the sticky, crimson liquid, a single number glowed faintly. 0. How fitting. Everything was back to 0. Alex, are you okay? Maya's hand, waving in front of my face, pulled me back to the present. I'm fine, I said, signaling that we should leave. Do you know the speaker, Ms. Martinez? She's an incredible young entrepreneur. I heard her company went bankrupt once, but she made a huge comeback. Became one of the city's top players in less than 2 years. Maya chattered on as we walked. Yeah, I know her. She's my ex-girlfriend. What? Maya was an intern I had mentored for less than a month before I quit my old job. She was also, as it turned out, the daughter of the CEO of Triton Corp. By a stroke of sheer luck, she had been visiting a relative at the hospital that day and witnessed my rebirth. Mr. Foster, we are so sorry. Due to a clerical error, you were given the wrong test results. We deeply apologize for the distress this has caused you. Are you kidding me? What kind of hospital is this? You mix up test results? Even if the names are the same, the room numbers are different. Let me see your name badge. I'm reporting you. Maya's fierce, protective outburst was loud, but it was real. The beautiful reality of being alive. So you two? Maya began, hesitating. We broke up. I don't love her anymore, I said, glancing at the number on my palm. Her engagement party is next month. Want to go? The one with the younger Vance brother from Vance Capital? My family got an invitation. Let's go together. I've never been to an engagement party before. She was so young, so full of life, drawn to any hint of excitement, free of worries. Then again, with her family's fortune, what did she have to worry about? Bella was clearly surprised to see me at her party. She froze for a moment before forcing a mocking smile. Alex, don't try to pull some dramatic crash the wedding scene. It's just embarrassing. It would be, I replied with a calm smile. But I'm just here for the free champagne. Alex, Maya looped her arm through mine, her eyes wide with admiration as she looked at Bella. Ms. Martinez, it's an honor. Bella's gaze dropped to Maya's arm on mine, her hand tightening around her champagne flute. Trying to make me jealous with a younger model? Alex, it's not going to work. You can't win me back. You're seriously overthinking this. We're just here for the party. We'll be gone after dinner. Just then, Julian Vance swaggered over. Well, look what we have here. Miss Singh, what a surprise. Didn't your family send my family an invitation? Stop playing dumb, you creep, Maya retorted, pulling me away. Well, enjoy yourselves, he called after us. Jerk, Maya muttered as we walked. You two don't get along. Everyone knows the younger Vance brother is a playboy who does nothing but party. He barely scraped his way into USC. As a fellow Trojan, I find his existence offensive. Young, rich, handsome, with a powerful family. He was everything Bella wanted. The ceremony had barely started when the large projector screen behind the stage glitched and began flashing dozens of pop-ups, displaying a stream of explicit photos and videos. Bella, baby, listen to me. I can explain, Julian stammered, frantically yelling at the tech crew while trying to calm a stunned Bella. After a moment of shock, Bella composed herself, forcing a smile of forgiveness. I trust. Her words were cut off by the arrival of a man in a wheelchair. Oh my God, it's Donovan Vance. Maya gasped beside me. Who's that? That's Julian's older brother, the real heir to the Vance fortune. He was in a car accident a few years ago and has been in a coma ever since. I can't believe he's awake. Compared to her disdain for Julian, Maya's tone was filled with respect and excitement for his brother. Julian is so screwed, she whispered. With Donovan back, there's no way he's inheriting anything now. The drama of the mega-rich was something else. Bella, who had been trying to keep it together, finally snapped. The scene devolved into tears and shouting, ending with her screaming that the engagement was off. The whole thing was so theatrical, I could barely process it. Of course, Maya's subsequent gossip-filled explanation clarified things. It was a simple story of mutual exploitation and betrayal, culminating in a spectacular public implosion. I glanced at my palm. The number, which had been 333 since the day of the misdiagnosis, was now 388. It was then that I finally understood the true rules of the devotion system. The more Alex loves Isabella, the luckier she will become, and the unluckier Alex will be. And now, the less Alex loves Isabella, all of that fortune returns to him. The system had only ever told me the first part. After leaving the hospital, I started a new job at Triton Corp, Maya's family company. She was my boss, but I was her mentor. We made it work. I never expected to see Bella again at the Triton headquarters. She looked awful. Even under a thick layer of foundation, I could see the dark circles under her eyes. She was visibly startled to see me, a flicker of an unreadable emotion in her eyes. Miss Singh, hello. You may remember me. I remember. So what? Maya's previous admiration for Bella had been replaced by a cold disdain. I was hoping to discuss the proposal my assistant sent over last week. Bella said, her posture slightly stooped, radiating desperation. I'm sorry, I can't help you, Maya replied, her tone sharp. For a girl in her early 20s, she possessed the innate authority of someone born to power. Bella's face twisted in anger. She pointed a trembling finger at me. Alex, it was you, wasn't it? You said something to her. You hate me for leaving you, so you found a new, rich girlfriend, and now you're sabotaging me when I'm down. She went on, her accusations growing more frantic, but I couldn't make sense of them. I have no idea what you're talking about. And please stop spreading rumors. Ms. Singh and I have a purely professional relationship. I looked at her calmly, as if she were a complete stranger. Don't misunderstand. Maya cut in. My decision has nothing to do with Alex. He wasn't even aware you had reached out. But I am aware of what happened between you two. I used to admire you, seeing only your success. I didn't know you were the kind of person who uses someone and then discards them the second you get what you want. I understand that business can be cold and ruthless, but I won't tolerate that behavior from anyone connected to my friends. Hearing Maya, who is usually so bubbly and carefree, speak with such gravity was startling. Alex, it's not true. Bella's demeanor shifted instantly. I know you still love me, right? Why else would you bring another woman to my engagement party? You were just trying to make me jealous, weren't you? It was her classic move, trying to charm her way out of trouble. But I wasn't the same Alex. Without the filter of love, her manipulations were painfully clear. It won't work, I said. The Alex who loved you is dead. You killed him. But I don't hate you, which means your business problems are not my concern. Liam, please see Ms. Martinez out, Maya said with a wave of her hand. Bella was escorted from the office. Alex, I'm okay. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to keep it from you. When I was doing my due diligence on her company, your name came up, Maya said, her earlier confidence gone as she looked down at her desk. It's true what they say. You never really know someone. I can't believe I used to be such a fan. It doesn't matter. It's all in the past. Come on, let's get lunch. The complexities of the human heart aren't something you can figure out overnight. Over lunch, Maya explained why Bella had come. The canceled engagement with the Vance family had caused a cascade of terminated projects and a severe cash flow crisis. She was desperate, and Triton Corp was her last hope. Avenged you, big bro. Feel better, Maya said, try to lighten the mood. Oh yeah, you're a real hero. I teased back. I checked the number on my palm. As expected, it had gone up again, but it was still a long way from where it started. Where else was my luck supposed to come from? That evening, I stopped by a convenience store and bought a few scratch-off tickets. $300,000. Holy cow, you're the luckiest person I've ever seen. I was just about to close up, and you hit the jackpot. The clerk was more excited than I was. I was calm. I had a feeling this would happen. Alex, what a coincidence you live around here. I turned to see my old director, Chloe Davis. Chloe, yeah, small world. What's with the formality? We're not at the office anymore, and we're certainly not colleagues. True. Before she was my boss, Chloe and I had been classmates in college. Ah, you're right. How's work been? Crazy busy with the end of the year, I bet. Not anymore. I left that company too. I'm running my own VC firm now. It's exhausting. Wouldn't it be easier to just take over the family business? Chloe also came from a wealthy family, the only daughter. She was brilliant, beautiful, and kind, yet she had worked her way up to director on her own merits. She was one of the people I admired most. That'll happen eventually, but I wanted to see what I could build on my own first, she said, her eyes downcast. Is that too aggressive? Not all. Independence is the most attractive quality a person can have. Really, thank you. Her head snapped up, her eyes shining. Hey, my firm is looking for a director of technology. I think you'd be perfect for it. Name your salary, and I'll make it happen. Are you serious? Tell me more. I desperately needed a real career opportunity. While the pay and benefits at Triton were great, the work was unrelated to my field. It wasn't a long-term solution. Alex, a familiar voice cut through the air. I knew it was you. Bella stormed toward us and, without warning, slapped Chloe across the face. Bella, are you crazy? I shoved her back as she lunged again and turned to check on Chloe. Are you okay? You bitch. Bella screamed at Chloe. I knew you were still obsessed with him. The moment I'm gone, you crawl out to seduce him? That's enough. If you touch her again, I'm calling the police, I warned. Bella was unhinged. How did she even know where I lived? Come home with me, she pleaded, her tone shifting instantly. If you come home, I'll stop. We can fix this, okay? It was my fault, I know that now. Forgive me, baby. She grabbed my arm, pressing her body against mine. I pried her fingers off me. I've told you over and over. I don't love you anymore. Please leave and stop interfering with my life. Impossible. You loved me for 8 years. You can't just stop. You're lying to me. I know you're still angry. It's okay. Come home with me. You can punish me however you want. She stood on her toes, trying to kiss my neck. I stepped back, avoiding her. I sighed. With her making a scene like this, Chloe and I weren't going anywhere. I reluctantly pulled out my phone and called building security. After 15 minutes of shouting and commotion, the street was finally quiet again. I'm so sorry. You got hurt because of me. A red handprint was still visible on Chloe's cheek. Let me take you to an urgent care clinic to get some ice on that. I'm fine, but are you? Chloe looked up at me, a few stray hairs falling across her forehead. I gently tucked them behind her ear. I gave a bitter smile. Why does no one believe me when I say it? Because of how much you used to love her. Love isn't eternal. It can vanish in an instant, as if it were never there at all. If that's the case, then you. Her eyes shimmered with a familiar light, the same one I'd seen 8 years ago when she tried to give me a love letter. But time doesn't go backward, and neither do feelings. I'm sorry, I said, the same words I'd said back then. Okay, I get it, she said, a wave of acceptance washing over her face. She had truly matured. So, is that job offer still on the table? I'm pretty motivated to make some money, I said, changing the subject. Of course, and speaking of money, do you remember a few years ago you gave me some money to invest for you? It was about $50,000. Well, that portfolio is worth over $1 million now. I'd completely forgotten about that. It's grown that much. It was the money my parents had set aside for my wedding. Since Bella kept delaying, I'd asked Chloe, a finance whiz, to manage it for me. I never imagined it would multiply like that. Why don't you keep managing it for me? I'll pay you a management fee. In that case, I'll gladly take advantage of you, she said with a grin. Despite Maya's best efforts to get me to stay, I eventually left Triton for Chloe's firm. You can always come back if you want to. Maya pouted as she saw me off. Honestly, she was a genuinely good kid. I once asked her why she was always helping me. Her answer surprised me. During my internship interview, you were the only one who praised my ideas. You made me feel like I wasn't completely useless. I never would have guessed that a few words of sincere encouragement would gain me such a powerful ally and friend. Chloe set me up perfectly. I integrated smoothly into my new role, and the team is fantastic. My life was getting better every day, and the number on my palm grew larger and larger, which meant that Bella was slowly sinking into the abyss. In mid-December, Bella's company officially filed for bankruptcy. The industry rumors were rampant. Some said Julian Vance had embezzled company funds and assets before their breakup. Others claimed her old rivals had teamed up to crush her. A few whispered that her parents had racked up massive debts and used the company as collateral. Whatever the reason, it had nothing to do with me. That didn't stop her from coming to find me one last time. She was huddled by my apartment door. When she saw me, she staggered to her feet. She had lost so much weight. Her makeup was caked on, failing to hide the dark circles and acne scars. Her lips were cracked and peeling. She looked a lot like I had in the hospital. You're back. She forced a brittle smile. Worked late? Are you hungry? I can take you out for a late dinner. She reached for my wrist, but I pulled away. What do you think you're doing here? I asked coldly. She froze, then collapsed to the floor, tears streaming down her face. You really don't love me anymore, do you? I call you, and it goes straight to voicemail. I text, you don't answer. I waited for you outside the Triton building. Did you really just throw me away? Yes. I don't love you. I don't want you. In fact, I regret ever meeting you, ever loving you. I regret all the time I wasted not being myself. You can't stop loving me, she shrieked. You have to love me. You have to love me more than anything. When you love me, I get everything. When you love me, I'm lucky. A chilling realization began to dawn on me. What a useless devotion system. It's all a lie, and you're a liar. Why did you stop being my simp? Why did you stop loving me unconditionally? It's all your fault that I'm in this mess. It's all your fault. So, I was the fool all along. She flew at me, punching and kicking wildly. I grabbed her by the throat, watching calmly as she struggled for air. Suddenly, fireworks exploded outside the window, their brilliant colors breaking my trance. I let her go, dragged her to the elevator, and pushed the button. Enjoy a life without luck? I said. I was going to be an observer now, quietly savoring the same sick pleasure you must have felt watching me fall. Back in my apartment, I screamed at my palm for the devotion system to show itself, but there was no response. I had thought it was a one-sided contract I'd been forced into. I never imagined Bella was the one who set it all up. So that night, on the rooftop, it was all an act. She had tricked me into binding myself to that cursed system, knowing full well it would drain my own fortune. And then she had the audacity to mock me for my misfortune while she reaped the benefits. Too bad for you, Bella. You calculated everything except for one crucial detail. Once the conditions of the contract were broken, all the luck would come rushing back. For all your scheming, you couldn't outsmart the system you created. On Christmas Eve, my cousin practically dragged me to his house to celebrate. His family had been living abroad for years. When my parents were still alive, they often helped look after his son, Caden, who had stayed behind. They only brought him overseas after my parents passed away. We're probably not moving back, my cousin said, his eyes glassy as he held up his wine glass. I'm leaving you my apartment in the city. Think of it as a thank you for taking care of Caden all those years. Tears welled up in my own eyes. Just like that, I had no family left in the country. Later that night, as we stayed up waiting for morning, Caden and I were playing video games in his room. Uncle Alex, he asked suddenly, what happened to your really mean girlfriend? Mean? I was confused. He had to be talking about Bella. Yeah, I was just a kid, but I remember a lot. She was so mean. She used to make Grandma so upset that her asthma would act up. As Caden recounted his memories, a cold dread washed over me. Bella, that vicious, manipulative woman. What spell was I under to have ever treated her like a treasure? I looked at the number on my palm, now just over halfway back to its original value. It's not enough, I thought fiercely. It's still not enough. A few days after New Year's, I was back home when Chloe stopped by for a visit. You should really think about moving, she said. I've seen Bella hanging around your building a few times. Is that so? Good. There's something I need to ask her. As if on cue, the doorbell rang. Chloe shot me a worried look, but I waved it off. I opened the door. It was Bella. Her smile vanished when she saw Chloe. I'll come back later. She turned to leave, but Chloe stopped her. I hear your mother is sick. That's why you're looking for Alex, isn't it? Bella froze, her expression confirming it. But you know he's not the one who can help you. I am, Chloe continued. You want Alex to ask me to help you. Bella turned back, her face a mixture of pale and flushed. So what if I do? She won't help you, I said flatly. He's right, I won't, Chloe added. Why not? Alex, you can't do this. My mother is dying. The only person who can save her is Chloe. She grabbed my hands, dropping to her knees and begging me. Your mother's life is a life, but my mother's wasn't. Did you ever think about this day when you were tormenting her? You know. No, you're lying. What does your mother's death have to do with me? She was sick. It's not my fault. It was laughable. What kind of monster had I loved? Then your mother's life has nothing to do with me. I slammed the door in her face, leaving her to her frantic screaming in the hallway. I collapsed onto the sofa. Chloe looked at me with pity in her eyes. I deserve this, I said with a bitter laugh. Her mother has a very rare disease. Even if you had agreed, I couldn't have helped. The overseas hospital my family invests in doesn't have a reliable treatment for it yet, so you don't need to feel guilty. But she was wrong. It wasn't Bella I was angry at anymore. It was myself, angry at my own weakness, that even after everything, a part of me felt a pang of guilt for refusing, for condemning a life. Whatever, I said. It's fate. In mid-January, I took 2 weeks off from work. I'm going to the northernmost part of the country, I told Chloe, to the place where my parents took their wedding photos. The landscape was covered in a thick blanket of snow. Using an old photograph as my guide, I asked for directions, and after several detours, I finally found the small town where they had stood, smiling, all those years ago. The town was vibrant, filled with the sounds of laughter. My phone rang. It was Chloe. Alex, Bella died. There was a car accident. I raised my right hand, the light catching the glowing numbers. Yeah, I said. I know. After exploring the town, I found a spot with a beautiful view and dug a small hole in the frozen ground. I placed the box I brought with me inside. Rest in peace. So you're saying the devotion system was responsible for all of this? Inside the interview room of a state psychiatric hospital, 3 detectives questioned a man in a patient's gown. Yes, that's right, Alex Foster mumbled, gesturing vaguely with the bandaged stump where his right hand used to be. Outside the room, What do we do with this? A young officer asked. The story is insane. He made up this whole super intelligent system and painted himself as the victim. This guy has a serious martyr complex. It's not supposed to make sense to us. If it did, we'd be in there with him, the senior detective replied. Bottom line, he intentionally caused the accident that killed her. We have it on traffic cams. What happens next depends on the hospital's official diagnosis. And the hand. Take that photo he had and send a team to Fairbanks, Alaska. My guess is you'll find it in that box he was talking about. Yes, sir.